here doing a review over the Transient Gundam Glacier. This one is from the Gundam Build Fighters Honoo Try, which I believe is a visual novel or a manga. I'm not too sure since I haven't got to actually read it. The other one that I know that I've read or read the beginning of was the one going into Meijin Kawaguchi's backstory as to how he started and where he started and whatever else. But this particular one, I have not read into at all. I know that they actually started releasing. They started releasing the sets from both of these series. I've actually seen the ones from the AR series. I think it's the one that is the backstory of Meijin Kawaguchi. I don't remember what that one was called because it's been so long since I've read it. And then you also have the Honoo Try. This one actually is the lead of this particular group. And they actually started including the manuals in English, where they have it in Japanese and in English. So they kind of actually go into the backstory of where these are coming from, and so it makes it a little easier for those who aren't able to read or speak Japanese. But as a longtime builder, I can actually interpret what was going on as far as the putting together the models. It was usually straightforward with a lot of the stuff. Well, for me anyway. I know some people do have difficulty reading or seeing how the picture is being portrayed, just because it's two-dimensional. It's black and white. It's like trying to put together the lighting for like the Perfect Grade Zoc, who is saying, oh, well, to build the circuit for the head for the LED. To put that together, they don't tell you how what color goes where, since the color is in, or since the manual is in black and white. So it was a little difficult to make sure that the circuit was built correctly. It's like more like trial and error, but it's not like it was a whole lot of voltage going behind it. So it's just a standard LED circuit. But I can understand when people or where people are having the issue with this. But just to show the manual here about it being in English. So you have it in Japanese, and then under it you have it, the English translation version of it. So this is whose Gundam this is who the person is that has this particular Gundam. It's based on Wilfred Kajima, I believe that's his name. Yeah, I'm trying to remember what his last name was. It was based on his Transient Gundam, which actually shows here. But just looking at some of the aspects, I was like, oh, they took some and then they made some of it, more of it, some. But this particular one, since it was based on the prior design, this particular team called Lapis Lazuli, saying that all of them use blue somehow, even though I don't know where the blue comes in for this purple one. But, you know, I don't really know a whole lot about that. But they have Nielsen's Astray, but it's blue now. And then you have the Gundam Glacier, and then you have the one that was based off of the Fenice, but Fenice was also based off of Wing Zero. So, but I do like the fact that a lot of these manuals are coming in English, and they actually tell you a little more about the backstory of a lot of these, especially like the ones that are coming from like side stories or any of that, like with the Gundam Wing series. Some of those actually came, or some of the story, or some of the, and then some of the story, and then some of the models actually came from the visual novel called Frozen Teardrop, one that people are wanting to see made as the Prometheus Gundam, which I would have to say is a really good heavy arms improvement. Doesn't really look a whole lot like heavy arms, but just the amount of guns that that particular Gundam possesses. But moving on, trying to figure out where to start with this one. But you got your extra weapons that goes on to the end of these, and then you got the extra fist, of course, that are the closed fist, but the ones that I have on it right now are the ones that can hold the weapons. So it does look a lot like the original Transient, but the Transient was also based on Double O, from my understanding. I'm not a big fan of that series, so. But here's the model, so you look at it all around. I'm trying to see if I can actually move it all around. The box keeps getting in the way. I really do like the color scheme of it. I think I would have personally liked it better with the black and or not black, the blue and white that the original one was based on. But the purple is rather fitting still. It's reminiscent of the Denial Gundam, but at least this one is better constructed than the Denial, or in my opinion, because I could not get the Denial to keep things from falling off it. I don't know if it was just because I had bad molding or what the deal was, but anytime I moved it, something would fall off it. This one's pretty solid built. It's like of course the arms are actually really flexible, and it's like you can actually move it around, but you have stuff like that. But I think it's just because of these back pieces here that are kind of moving into the space as well. There you go. But you know, the joints are actually really flexible. But where is it? Oh, like this one here doesn't. There's a reason why I keep it on the stand. It's like, it stays on the stand rather well. But the feet on this one is they're more along the lines to make it look like that. But I'm just not a big fan of how the feet go in this one, because it doesn't really hold up too well. It's back heavy. Let's see if I can move this real quick. So it's kind of back heavy because of the backpack, of course. But you know, it's like you try to stand it up, or it goes kind of off center. It's like you probably can make it stand on its own if you give it some time. But with the backpack, it was a little more difficult for me to get it to stand. Also, my major point of contention with this one is the waist. Like I said, I might have gotten like a bad mold or something on it, and here I am taking parts off it, trying to show it off. It's like you have this type of waist joint, and there's where it goes into. But even if I push it down all the way, it's still kind of loose. So you can actually just move it around and it's still loose. But this one is better suited if you leave it on the stand. Really good posability, really good flexibility. It's like, of course, if that wasn't in the way, you could probably bend the leg all the way back. It's like just a lot of different types of edges on this thing. So it has the GN drive like the Double O does, or the ones from that series does, and you can actually move this around. A lot of moving parts on the backpack, so you can actually just move the various pieces around, and you have the bottom parts that also move around as well. And then with put one of these bottom pieces on real quick, and then you can have like the entire weapon. So it actually comes with pieces to do both of them. I'm go ahead and take it off here, though, so I'm put it back on the stand, because this thing is not going to stand by itself. Not without putting forth some effort to keep it standing upright anyway. So it's good that they included the stand, because I realize a lot of these ones that do come with stands, they don't stand up very well on their own. So, you know, it's just, I guess it's a foresight on these. But this is rather detailed. I like how, with the introduction of the Build Fighters series in general, it doesn't matter if it's side story or not, they've actually improved the quality of high grades immensely. I've built some of the high grades from the late 90s, and then built some of the ones with the different generations along the way. And there, pretty soon there's not going to be a whole lot that's different in the respect of how detailed these are with the joints, like they are with the master grades. Like, of course, you know, the details are going to be different due to the grades. It's like we know that the real grades are just a master grade scaled down to a 144 like this high grade is. But just with the introduction of this particular line, these are becoming better built, and you can actually see that reflected with a lot of these that they introduced for the 35th anniversary revive models as well. I built the gun cannon from that, and I was really surprised at how well the quality has gone up within like just the last few years. But of course, you know that a lot of high grades don't have skeletons. This one only has the joints where you could attach the arms and what have you. It's not like it's not like how the high grades are, where you can build the skeleton first and then put the parts over it. It's like the only way you can join all these parts is through the joints that are here, because the joints are a little bit longer, but that's about it. Again, the only thing I did not like about this kit was how loose my mid section was on mine. But other than that, I would build it again. I actually saw this in the hobby shop, and it's like, that looks pretty cool. You know, I hadn't seen the series of which it came from. Just know that they're introducing a lot of these from the news or from the side stories. It's kind of like how the Nightingale came from a side story, or more like an alternate universe of the original Gundam series. And so that's actually the Sazabi version in that universe. It's like I'm not a big fan of the Nightingale, even though we have one because someone gifted it to my husband a while back. But going back to this one, I would recommend this one. This one didn't really fall apart on me nearly as much as as the Denial did. I have to say, out of all of the newer high grades that I built, the Denial it wasn't very good. It's like, of course, detailing on it, all that was good, but it's one of those ones that I had to pose it and not touch it. But out of all the ones that I've built here recently, as far as the high grades from the newer high grades, this one is pretty solid. It actually keeps like the poses, no problem. And the wrist joints are really solid in it too. It's not like I put something in it and then it kind of like weighs down. It's like it's even solid with the little fist in it, because that's what I had in there initially. But it's like it's actually pretty solid with the exception of the waist. Just like I said, mine may have been badly manufactured. I don't know, or that piece. I know I can fix that piece. A lot of people would go with like the cement, or a lot of the time I'll put like a little bit of masking tape over it, and it usually fixes that problem. But I'm just showing you for the out of the box build with just panel lining done to it. I didn't do anything fancy to it or paint it or anything like that. But again, with just some of the joints, that's the only joint that was bad on it. One of the things, and it's not even just this kit, it's the clear parts in general. Trying to get the nub marks off of clear parts. It's not like, again, it's not even this kit, but there was a lot of clear parts on this one. And even though I like the way that the clear parts look, whether it be this kit or another one that has it, I completely despise trying to denub it with a passion, because it's just damn near impossible to get. Well, for me, pretty sure you get modelers out there that can do it no problem, but just for me, it's damn near impossible to keep it from where you see the nub marks on the clear parts. So it's like me, I usually just try and pose it in a way that you can't really see it. But the nub marks on this one cleaned up for me, cleaned up pretty well. They were in decent spots. Some of them I was like, well, they could have put it somewhere else, but I feel that it's only a matter of time before they start giving it the perfect grade unicorn treatment and start undergrading a lot of these plastics. But it's like I know they've done that with some of the master grades, but the first time I saw it majorly was when I put together a perfect grade unicorn, and I also got the Banshee, and which it has not been put together just yet. But I'm also going to paint that one, and just waiting for the wind to die down here, because the wind's been like constant, so I can't paint it like I want to. But I would highly recommend this one, even though I'm not a big fan of the original series, of which this particular Gundam, well, this one and the one that this one was based off of, I'm not a big fan of the series. So, but as far as design wise, it looks pretty solid. It feels pretty solid, but I would recommend it being put on a stand. It's like, because you can get it to stand on its own, but you'd have to put it in a weird pose, and you have to actually sit there and keep messing with it, and you may not even want to put it in the pose after that, because it may not look very good. I know that I had to kind of lean it forward, or had to make sure that the foot was at a weird angle, and it just didn't look natural to me. But if you can make it look better, then, go by all means do it. But I'm glad that this one actually came with a stand, because it holds its poses pretty well. Once you pose it, nothing falls off. It's just, I think, the only reason why mine fell off is because I didn't push it in there all the way. But it's like everything's pretty good. Like I said, there's a lot of moving parts on it. I had, I had a few times where one of these would fall off, and they're in there all the way. So it's like you got to be careful with some loose parts. But again, it's not necessarily a thing to not buy a kit over. But a lot of time you can fix loose parts by either putting like a little bit of cement in it, or like I said, I do masking tape, because it actually keeps the part in there. It kind of eliminates the space that was going on in there. But I would highly recommend this one. I do like a lot of the kits that they're coming out with on these side stories, and I'm really hoping that I'm really hoping that they're going to be releasing the blue frame Astray that was based on Niels Nielsen's red frame Astray from that series, or the Sengoku Astray. That's what it was called. It's like, I actually do like the way, I'm a big fan of blue, so I really do like the way that the color is on that one. But again, I don't understand why they call their team blue when, because from reading the side of the box, is saying that they all use blue. Well, this isn't very blue. It's all, I understand it's like kind of like an offshoot of blue, but this is more purple than blue. And I don't understand it, but I'm not the one that names this stuff. But I would recommend it. And as you can see on this other one over here, I am working on a master grade wing. It's one of the older ones I bought like forever ago, but I'm doing that. I'm also working on the Papa guy. We'll do a review on that one once I get that one built. And I have like a good chunk of the bear guy, or the petite bear guys, in my back stock as well. So I'll probably put all those together. And there's really no review on that one, or really not much review on that one. But it's like, I'll put them all together just so you can actually see what they all look like together, since they can connect together with their little puzzle pieces. But again, highly recommend. I try not to keep repeating the same thing over and over again, but I'm not scripted, so I just keep saying whatever comes to mind. So just go ahead and kind of move it around again. Trying to move the hands off to the side. But you can move it around, do whatever, pose it. Yeah, like all the joints are there. It's like neck joints have gotten extremely better over the last few years. But there you have it.